Hello students, Bomix are back again. So continuing with your class 9th syllabus. Now first chapter we went through in Beehive. The chapter was The Fun They Had by Asimov. The same way, the continuation of the same unit, we have The Road Not Taken in front of you, which has been written by the poet Robert Frost. He's a very good poet. He's an American poet and does a lot of thinking. And though the poem looks very simple to you, but there is a comparison. Okay, and actually, in most of the poems, of all the poems, mostly, he brings out a kind of an antithesis. Antithesis is a kind of a contrast, you can say. Okay, I'll give you examples of antithesis. Say, for example, fact and fancy, and reality and imagination, and pleasure and purpose. These kind of things. Say, for example, country life and city life, or your village life. So, any or the other way, he doesn't emphasize on any of the other things. And finally, he gives a fair chance to each of the side to reconciliate or have a kind of a proper view. And finally, you will find that the resolution emerges from his dramatizations, the way of he is delivering the speech or delivering of the things, of the lines of the poems. And finally, it will come up in the same way in The Road Not Taken. Why I did say? Because a road not taken is a kind of a metaphorical input. Metaphors you must have gone through. Metaphors are figures of speech, as the other figures of speech like similes you must have gone through before. Metaphors you must have also come across. Now I'll give you all the figures of speeches of this one. Final first, before giving the explanation of this, first of all, you understand what road not taken is. We'll first go through the same process I take. First, we'll go through the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme, I'll just take an example of one paragraph. First, the first paragraph. Okay, the rhyme scheme, as you will see, the first word, this one, this one, this one, this one, and the last one. Fine. I'll take up the example. It's quite easy. First, you see wood, then the wood both is not matching with wood, so that comes to as B. Okay, I presume you understood. Now next one is stood. Fine. You see the next one is also could, so that is again matching with wood, stood. So again we put here A, and undergrowth is matching with both, so that's why we put here as B. So the rhyme scheme, if you see the rhyme scheme, okay, the rhyme scheme will be as A, B, A, A, B. This is the rhyme scheme of the poem. Now it's quite easy, just you can memorize this, and it is necessary to understand a rhyme scheme of a poem. There are 4 stanzas in this poem, and first of all you need to understand some of the words. 4 words have been mentioned at the end of the poem. Here it is diverged, undergrowth, wanted where, and hence. Now I'll tell you the words are here. First of all, diverge is here, diverge is here, okay, then undergrowth is here, okay, next one is in the 4th line. We have given you this one, 5th line, last one, and second paragraph it will come up. Second paragraph you will see the wanted where in the 3rd line, last word. Okay, the third line, last two words. Okay, wanted were, and the meanings are all given at the end, so I'm not emphasizing on these meanings. And lastly, we go on to the last meaning, that is that of here, hence. Now hence it is given here. You see the word ages and ages hence. Okay, now these meanings have been given, so apart from that there are some more meanings which I am giving. Just take care of that one. First, the lines I am telling: two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Now, in the first line, all the meanings are more or less clear. So, going to the second paragraph, then took the other just as fair. Just as fair, it's a kind of a comparison. Okay, just as fair, it's a kind of a comparison, right? And having perhaps the better claim, a kind of an advantage. Next is because it was grassy and wanted were has not been used, that is already given there with you. And though as for that passing there had worn them really about the same. Now worn, this word is kind of damaging, means kind of erosion or something or the other whenever the leaves generally fall from the trees during the time of the autumn. Autumn is a season. As you know, summer season, we don't have autumn season much in the tropical areas. We have the rainy season much. So autumn season they have in America, you have in England, you have in European countries. The autumn season, generally all the leaves fall off and they become yellow, actually from green to yellow, and they fall on the ground, and you will find those leaves will be mixing with the soil and becoming brownish in color, then crumpling up and will mix with the soil. They go down into the soil again. Okay, so this you must have studied in science. So next we come to another word here called trodden. How the stanza starts: and both the morning equally lay means a comparison of the two roads been made. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Next, trodden we had already done. Trodden means still I did not give the meaning, I think so. So trodden is meaning is walked upon, means walking, walked upon. Fine, this is the one. I doubted if I should ever come back. Last stanza, the poet tells, I shall be telling with this with a sigh. A sigh is another word, this has not been mentioned. Okay, now in this word, try and understand this word properly. Sigh is stating something or expressing something in the way of sadness. Now hence you have been already given, means in the future. And this word ages and ages means a long time, and actually the meaning is a long time ahead. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I means the poet. Here I means the poet. Okay, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Now Robert Frost, I have already told you that he has taken up a metaphor, and it's the whole poem is an extended metaphor. Mind you, I'll tell you from the beginning what is actually happening. Here the road is, this is the road. You need to understand. I'll be drawing out the shape of the thing. Here he comes up, then the roads gets diverged like this. He thinks himself as a traveler. Fine. Now there are two fork, which is a forked road. What is a fork road? Whenever the roads diverge from a particular point, this point, say for example, so that is called a fork road. Now this road, one of the roads, what happened is that it went and it turned like this, okay, and it turned like this, and the person who is standing here, okay, my drawing is fantastic, you know, as if I used to draw on the board. Now I'm trying on my digital classroom. Fine. So the traveler, the poet, is standing here, and the poet, he is a curious person, so he tries to look from this bent road as it is bent, okay. Now he is standing here. Fine. So he's trying to look this road, but he's not able to see this because of the fact that there is a kind of an undergrowth here. Undergrowth is a kind of a dense growth of plants, so generally that is obstructing his view. Fine. That is obstructing his view. Now see the metaphor. I told you this is the poet. Poet is a traveler. Now what is the metaphor? What are the metaphors taken? Metaphors is a indirect comparison. Okay, it's a, I told you it's an extended metaphor. The whole poem is a kind of a metaphor. The road not taken. Now here you will see that two roads serve as a metaphor for the choices. Means road number 1, say for example 2. Don't take it as a road number 1 or 2, but I'm telling you 1 or 2 roads. 2 roads are there. It's a forked road. I told you what's a road. It's a forked, diverged road. Okay. Now, why there are choices? Because every time in your life, the life provides you with a kind of alternatives. What kind of alternatives? Choices. Now these choices are there with you. The choices we make has far-reaching consequences, and the impact generally is seen after, not now, it will be seen in the future. So what is the poet trying to say? The poet in one shot has tried to say that this undergrowth, what he is talking about, this undergrowth, these are the obstacles of life. And he being the poet, he is a traveler, or the person who is traveling life. Okay, as he is traveling, he is able to find out that there are choices in his life and there are obstacles or hurdles in his life, and the person who takes the unique path is able to succeed in his life. Sometimes what happens is that you need to stand there, the person is standing here and is thinking what to do, to take first this road or that road. This road he is taking things, means there must be many people who must have taken that road, and other road must not have been taken. So these two roads he is balancing in his mind, and then finally he takes the choice. Now nobody is to blame. That means, say for example, you are the only person who is taking this road, so you cannot blame anybody that you are the person due to whom I had taken up this choice. You cannot do that. Fine. So that is what he is saying, that even if I am happier in his life, in the last paragraphs he says, though I'll come back with the explanation afterwards. This is the first introduction to the poem. The last paragraph he says that I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages, it means in the future, obviously, in the future, that two roads had diverged and I took the less traveled by. Now if he is successful, then he won't tell that with a sigh, and if he is not successful, obviously, then he should have retracted, he should have gone away, he should have done. Means failure is a stepping stone to success. Means you don't think that failure won't come to your life. Okay, It's a kind of a stepping stone. It's a kind of a ladder. Means one of the steps to the success, to get the success in your life. Every time you can't achieve success, you can aspire for success in your life, but you cannot. What the poet is trying to say this: